Welcome to Politico, Voice of the World, where we dive into diverse political views and global insights. In this video, we're diving into the economic impact of the latest U.S. tariffs under President Trump's new policy. We'll explore several key graphs that tell the story of where things started, where they are now, and what they mean for global trade. Graph 1, U.S. import tariffs by country, pre-tariffs. Let's start with the baseline. This graph shows U.S. import tariffs before the new wave of tariffs. As you can see, China had the highest average rate at around 3.5%, while countries like the UK, France, and Germany faced very low tariffs, often close to 1%. This was the landscape before things changed. Graph 2, U.S. import tariffs by country, post-tariffs, April 2025. Now, here's what happened after April 2025. The new tariffs dramatically increased rates across the board. China shot up to 34%. Vietnam and Cambodia faced tariffs as high as 46 and 49%. Even traditional U.S. allies, like Japan and South Korea, saw tariffs in the 20% range. This graph makes it clear just how widespread and steep the new measures are. Graph 3, U.S. versus reciprocal tariffs. But the U.S. isn't the only one raising barriers. This chart compares the U.S. tariffs to the retaliatory tariffs imposed by each of these countries. While the U.S. tariffs are generally higher, countries like Vietnam, India, and Germany responded strongly, matching or nearly matching U.S. rates. This tit-for-tat dynamic reflects rising trade tensions and the potential for longer-term economic disruption. Graph 4, U.S. trade deficit by country, 2024 estimates. Now, why were these countries targeted in the first place? This graph shows the estimated trade deficit the U.S. has with each country. China remains the largest, but other countries, like Germany, Japan, and Vietnam, also contribute significant deficits. This helps explain the logic behind the policy: reduce the trade gap by making imports more expensive. Graph 5, projected inflation by end of 2025. So, what does all this mean for everyday prices? This graph shows our projection for inflation rates by the end of 2025, taking into account the current tariffs imposed by the U.S. and the retaliatory tariffs from other nations. As trade barriers rise, so do costs. Imported goods become more expensive, supply chains get disrupted, and producers often pass those costs on to consumers. The result? Inflation. Countries like India, Vietnam, and the United States are projected to see the highest increases. In India's case, inflation could rise above 6.5% due to the direct hit on exports and supply costs. For the U.S., we estimate inflation climbing toward 3.7%, up from the current 2.9%, as import costs rise and companies adjust prices. Meanwhile, economies like Japan and the EU will also face pressure, though slightly more contained, depending on how widespread their countermeasures become and how reliant they are on U.S. trade. This projection gives us a glimpse into the future if these trade tensions continue. While it's a simplified model, it helps illustrate the real-world consequences of tariff wars, not just for governments and corporations, but for ordinary consumers around the globe. Conclusion: so what does this all mean? These graphs don't just show numbers, they show a shift in strategy, a growing divide between global trade partners, and a ripple effect that could reshape markets for years to come. If these trends continue, we could see higher prices, shifting alliances, and major changes in how goods flow across the world. Thanks for watching. If you found this informative, don't forget to like, share, and comment below with your thoughts. Subscribe for more updates on global events and political insights.